not want to spend all of that money though.
I mean, you can get a decent one now that's probably better than you not having one for $150.
All right, let's see if this worked. It's hard
Let's see if Tony Romo wants to come back.
What?
I said, let's see if Tony Romo wants to come back.
I'm down, man.
Dude, what
Can't
is
be any
going
worse.
on? Like, why is it not working? It's like not even streaming now. Yo, we got one yo. Let's see, I might be in the wrong one.
Tony's just over here trying to get as many views on different videos as possible. Just YouTube. All right, well, you did have this many views, I guess.
God, what the hell is going on? I don't want to buy a new computer, man. I already gotta buy my daughter a look. All right, so it says excellent connection here. All right, holy. Okay, maybe it's working. We'll see. Okay, so I mean, I don't even really have. This has been a pain in my. This is a pain in my ass right now. This whole streaming thing, just like the Carolina Panthers are a pain in my ass at the moment. All right, so we fall into 5-11, and we slip from. You guys get me back on track. What the hell is there to talk about?
So look, how about this? They just interviewed Teddy Bridgewater, and they were asking him, "Do you think that he's shown enough to be the starter next year?" And he said, "I have to be better, but I did get to the playoffs throwing 14 touchdowns one season." So basically, homeboy just said to the world, "Yeah, look, that's what you're gonna get out of me. You're going to get fucking 14 touchdowns and be happy." And by the way, Teddy Bridgewater, let's not be too disrespectful. Teddy Bridgewater had a career year this year and still accounted for less total touchdowns and less wins than Cam Newton. Dude, I'm telling you, that's what pisses me off the most, is that all these fucking Cam Newton haters that still want to talk about, oh, Teddy Bridgewater was a much better pick than Cam Newton.
Oh, no, not
Dude,
at all.
what the fuck are you talking about?
Not at all.
Yeah, more wins on a roster full of insurance salesmen as receivers. Like it was absolutely dumb, and now we're gonna pay the price for it. We might have had a better season this year with Cam Newton under center. I don't know if it would have been a Super Bowl team, but I think it would have been better than the 7th or 8th pick in the draft. And now here we are fucking floundering, hoping that we can, David Tepper can will his way into a top pick for a quarterback. It's embarrassing.
I mean, I'll be the first to say this, and I still maintain this. I don't think that Cam Newton is even close to half of what he was when he was in his prime with the Carolina Panthers. But he's still better than what Teddy Bridgewater was.
What's going on with him?
I mean, dude, some of the passes that he was making today, dude, his arm looked fine. And when you watch the Panthers, they never throw not the Panthers, the Patriots, they never throw seam routes. They don't have any exterior weapons. Like, they really don't do anything that is beneficial for Cam Newton. Either way, it doesn't really matter because Cam is not going to be the quarterback here anymore. But, dude, the fact of the matter is...
The point of that is that Teddy Bridgewater is still worse than, in my opinion, a Cam Newton that's not even half as good as he was in 2015. Like, that's how bad the disconnect is for us, like, for where Teddy Bridgewater is. Like, he has shown nothing to show that he is going to be anyone's future. And I'll be honest, if he were to be a free agent tomorrow, which he, if he didn't sign a 3-year contract and we did a prove it deal, which I think we should have, then with tomorrow, he wouldn't be signed as a starter for any team whatsoever. He wouldn't. No. It would be a backup, possibly not even being signed anywhere because he probably has a pride level that says, I deserve to make more money than this.
We paid that man a $63 million contract, y'all. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. Yeah. Film has to show what you're paying someone for. Someone that has thrown 14 touchdowns in a season, that is zero evidence of being a franchise quarterback. So whoever made that decision, it was fucking terrible. And for everyone wanting to say Joe Brady is the one that went and got his dude, listen, if David Tepper or Marty Herney at the time or Matt Rule, whoever, was letting their first-year offensive coordinator call the shot on who their quarterback is going to be, dude, that's a bad sign for our decision makers. That's a bad sign.
Yeah, I don't really even know how to explain it. Is that obviously Tepper said that he was disappointed in the situation. And I think that he maybe gave Herney, I don't know. Do you think he's using Herney as a fall guy here? I mean, I cannot believe that he just let Herney do all of this and ruin it based on so little evidence. But that's what he said, is we needed more data to support this, and we didn't have it ultimately. I mean, maybe you could say it's the COVID situation or something to that effect. You know, you didn't get to work people out in the right way, this and that. But the length of the contract is the problem. It's not the money. It's the length of the contract. And if you would have done this a 1 year, $25 million deal, it would have been adequate. And I don't think Teddy really could have said no to it. And maybe he could have. But right now we are running into problems. Because you're in a rock and a hard spot when it comes to his contract, and now you might not get your draft pick. How do you approach this if you're not going to trade up, right? Because you might not have what it takes to trade up, and then on top of that, you're just saddled with Teddy Bridgewater. Do you just cut bait and release him, and you just eat all the money? Do you make him a backup quarterback on your own team and you trying to pull off a trade? Or do we just have to kind of mull through another year of Teddy Bridgewater now?
It's a nightmare scenario, man. Could you imagine us having to do this another year?
I can't.
Go into another season just feeling deflated before the season even starts. Like, this is what sucks, right? People on Twitter would be like, oh, man, Patrick Surtain, the corner for Alabama, is so good. Or Micah Parsons would be the next Luke Kuechly in our defense. And you know what, dude? Maybe they're right. Maybe these players are incredible defensive talents that would be Hall of Famers for the Carolina Panthers. But it's hard for us to even get excited about that, knowing how giant and glaring the hole at quarterback is. It's like I can't even get excited about these other players because they aren't the quarterback for us. So it's a bad feeling to be in, man. We really did fuck up. One, signing Teddy Bridgewater to begin with over Cam Newton. And then two, how about this? Not trading away Curtis Samuel. I'll make a bet with y'all. I know Bet Daddy is our normal bet maker, but I don't think Curtis Samuel will be here next year.
I don't see how he can be. I don't see how he can be.
You should have traded him then, man.
I think he should be here. In my opinion, I think we should pay him, but I think there is a scenario that's very tough that makes it difficult for them to be able to try to find a way to pay everybody that needs to be paid. Like, we have no offensive linemen next year that are starting this year that are going to be our offensive linemen next year, as Tony brought up. It's sad because I disagree. I don't think we should have traded him, because I think that there at that point in time, if we had traded him away, we were basically saying we knew this season wasn't going to be anything. And it was so early in the season that couldn't have been the case. We could not have that prediction. We saw the writing in the sand, right? But as an organization, like, they can't give up on the season that easily, right? So I didn't think that there was value enough, and especially at that point, Curtis Samuel wasn't going to garner much anyway. So the value for what you were going to get was going to be, Curtis Samuel then is a much different Curtis Samuel now. Like, as far as what the media sees. No,
I don't think it's different at all. And by the way, Why would that have been a bad sign for a football team trading away Curtis Samuel?
Because it's basically our football team at that point in time. We know how it ended now, and at that point in time, you were tooting the horn. Let's get something for Curtis Samuel. You were saying that 100%.
Because we were losing. Even at that time, we were losing.
When's the trade deadline? Is it week 5, 6, 7?
The trade deadline was like week 7 or 8?
Yeah, after
it was in November. It was late in the football season.
Yeah, if it was week 7 or 8, we were at that point in time still like a 4-4 team.
So what? No, okay. In November. So what was the first game in November?
What do you mean?
That was I mean, that's when we started the slide. I think we had a good October, right?
Yeah, we had a great October.
By the way, even if the front office makes a decision for the future, it doesn't mean that the football team is going to lay down and die.
No, but it's meaning that the front office doesn't believe in what the team is going to be. Like if they felt like they had the pieces,
they shouldn't have believed in it, because I think you saw today, and I'm going to ask you this. It's kind of a divert off the Curtis Samuel for a half second. Is we have 2 1,000-yard receivers in Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. And as soon as you saw PJ Moore come in, I felt like the average per play attempt, like of where these passes were, it was like 10 more yards. And that one, now PJ did have a rough start and a rough game. Like he didn't play well. He was just heaving it all over the place by the end. But that one pass he made down the sidelines to Robbie Anderson, and then he followed it up with another to DJ Moore. Robbie Anderson could have been doing that all season. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like using the sideline, using his height and his speed, and anytime there's a one-on-one matchup over there, you're going after it like that. PJ had the arm strength to get it over there. We even saw on the deep route today, Teddy Bridgewater, and my friend tweeted this out, he put every bit he had into it. Every little bit of muscle he had into it. And it was a 40-yard pass, and it still was underthrown.
Heavily, by a good 5 or 10 yards. Yeah.
And you've been noting this all season long, CK. There was, again, several examples in this game where if you would have hit him and put a little air under the ball, DJ's going to take it to the house.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. And how many times did they have to make acrobatic catches to save the interception? Like Teddy should have had 2 more interceptions in this game. Had it not been for a great catch by Curtis Samuel taking it away from Jenkins.
He should have had a pick 6 on that one.
That one that was dropped by Jenkins as well. And then that one that was a beautiful catch by DJ Moore in the middle of 2 defenders. Like, if you didn't have those guys going up and making acrobatic plays, I mean, that's the tough part. Like, how many times, and PJ Walker was on the opposite end of this as well, overthrowing DJ Moore. And what world does Teddy Bridgewater overthrow anybody? Like, it's not heard of. It's
never happened. And, but going to that, back to Curtis Samuel, Cody, is that, albeit though we missed the opportunity to trade him, but I don't even know if we really need, if he should be on our priority list of bringing back at this point. Like, I feel like our wide receivers are adequate in DJ and Robbie, and there's so many other areas we need so much improvement. I think he should be low on our radar. Is that by the time we get the things fixed to make him great, he's not going to be great anymore. So we've missed, and I think that lends to your trade talk there. The idea though is that his value wasn't where it was today for
exactly. It wasn't. It wasn't even. It might have been creeping. It was better than it was in years past. I'll give it that. But at that point in time, the biggest problem is when we are a team that is in a hunt. Like when you have an extra playoff spot in the NFC, right? Let's look at it from that perspective. We weren't statistically removed from the playoff race until like week 10, right? And so at week 7, we can't be trading away the players that are getting us the things we need, right? Because if there is a possibility that we're going to move forward, if we did that, then that would be the organization agreeing, hey, we are tanking. We're going to be playing for the future. Right now, that's the only thing that matters.
And they should have been. They should have been. I think that's a good point.
So what? CK, you said that that's something that you can't do as an organization. The Jacksonville Jaguars traded away Leonard Fournette and Jalen Ramsey. They traded away everyone. And by the way, who cares what it said to the public or the media at large? They have
about that.
Forget
about that.
Yeah,
it's the teammate. It's the people on the team.
They have the number one pick in the draft and all the draft ammunition to do whatever they want to change their organization going forward. You have to know when you have value in something. Curtis Samuel now is never going to do anything for us if he leaves and just signs with another team. But we could have gotten at least a third or a second round pick. Imagine how good Curtis Samuel would be in Green Bay's offense, taking the top off of defenses. Like, we could have gotten a second round pick for him.
I don't think you would. I don't think
we wouldn't have gotten a second for him.
For a team like the Green Bay Packers that are making a playoff push and a Super Bowl push right now, I guarantee you they would have at least considered it. And they have Devontae Adams. They're going to have to be able to go blow for blow.
That's where he's going to sign this all season, or that's where he should sign. He would make a fantastic compliment to Devontae Adams. So we missed that opportunity. So, but what I'm saying is, out of all the things we've seen so far, Curtis Samuel is not on our radar about making our team better.
I disagree. I mean, honestly, he's been better than Robbie Anderson, and he's been the only clutch person who, in my opinion, has fought on every single play to try to do something. Right. I mean, I've seen DJ Moore give up on people who have gotten an interception. Curtis Samuel is always fighting every single play. He's either blocking or he's either putting himself in a position to be a good teammate. Like, I think as far as value is concerned, blow for blow, Curtis Samuel is infinitely more valuable to this team than Robbie Anderson is.
What is but can you really have a wide receiver squad? We were already concerned about a wide receiver duo of DJ and Robbie when it comes to size and red zone and, those things, is that you can't just trot out DJ and Curtis Samuel each week. We don't have a tight end. I don't know. So Curtis Samuel,
I would not pay him. I agree with you, Tony. I would not pay Curtis right now because I would much rather pay DJ Moore. And I'm sorry, just like I'm staunch on my running back positions, unless I have a number one, a game changer like a Devontae Adams or a Stephon Diggs or a DeAndre Hopkins, if I don't have that kind of player, I'm not paying top receiver money.
Do you realize we're a quarterback away from being the Atlanta Falcons of 2016?
And they didn't win the Super Bowl.
Because of stupid decisions by coaching. Like, they should have won that had the coaches actually made proper decisions. That was a bad coaching all the way around, right? And we were super happy about it. But what did they do? They paid Sanu. They paid Julio. They had Devontae. They had Tevin Coleman. They had all the pieces. We are literally one piece away, and that is our quarterback. But
we missed our window, though. We should have done that when they were on rookie deals. Like, now we have to pay them. And that's what I'm saying.
They were paying Julio, and they were paying Sanu when they did that run.
Not as much, and again, you're going to be
was getting paid.
The money that you're going to have to pay DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel on top of a $16 million a year Christian McCaffrey, and you have Robbie Anderson. Like, you're paying a whole lot of money for your offense all of a sudden. Like,
and on top of that, when you don't have the right pieces to make it great. You know what I'm saying? Right. Is that, like, yes, those guys are individually very good, but they can't do it without a quarterback, and they can't do it without, and that quarterback is not going to be able to do it without an offensive line. And so that's the thing is, like, I feel like we are farther away than just one piece on offense now, particularly that we have so much changeover going when it comes to the offensive line. Right, is that right now we have it almost seems absurd that our first round pick wouldn't be an offensive lineman.
An offensive tackle. Yeah.
Like, it just has to be at this point. There's too many holes there to fix. And if we are outside the quarterback range, I think we're talking about year 3 we're talking about one more year of this probably.
Well, let me ease your mind. Taylor Moton is going to be franchise tagged.
Okay.
Just bottom line. So that part we can go ahead and shore up the right side for next year at least. That part's
still
fine.
not, yeah. I mean,
Left tackle is the biggest question mark that we have. And that's still, and I think Cody would probably agree with that. Left tackle talent, 9 times out of 10 to get premium talent, that's a first round thing. You can get lucky, such as, the Bills, which in my opinion could have been the Panthers, as Cody wants to point out with Greg Little as well. We could have gone with a offensive tackle in the second round and actually gotten somebody who was able to actually be a franchise tackle. But it's not often you get a franchise guy in the second round as far as the tackle is concerned. But this year, I think it's a deep tackle class, right, Cody?
From what I've heard, so now that the season's over, here soon, I'm going to start to look at just about every position.
Yeah.
So I can't say definitively yet, but yeah, I mean that should have been something that we should have taken care of, but we still haven't done it, and now we have more pressing needs. And I don't know. We're going to have to. Our general manager is going to have one hell of a time to be a brand new GM for the Carolina Panthers. I mean, one of the most important drafts in the history of our football team. Like, it's going to decide whether or not we're going to be in that mediocre hellscape of 7-9, 6-10 every year, or a legitimate contender.
I think we're going to be worse next year. At this point, I think that I don't see how we're going to be better with Teddy Bridgewater. And
we're not.
I just think that this is kind of what's going to happen, is that maybe the rest of the team will be better, right? Maybe the defense will be better, but I can't even attest to that at this point, right? Is that while I think this defense has played hard, there's still so many holes on it. You know what I mean? Is that entire secondary is going to have to be revamped. Yeah. So maybe this isn't the year to get now that we're out of the QB range, maybe we're talking about just taking offensive linemen and a corner and really buckling down for a 4-win season next year again and getting the quarterback the following year. Because I don't think Teddy is tradable.
From any of them.
Teddy is not tradable at this point.
No, not at all.
And so, really, what can you do? Even if moving up in the draft would still give up. So we would have to give up so much to do it at this point.
Yeah, and we wouldn't be able to build around him. We wouldn't be able to get a tackle. We wouldn't.
It would still take 2 years. It would still take 2 years. So you almost wonder if you should do it in reverse and slow play it again. And
or
it does.
Do you trade up, draft the Trevor Lawrence, or get the Justin Fields, and then let him sit behind Bridgewater?
No, there's no way.
I'm just what I can think of. I'm not going to put a quarterback that's a franchise guy out behind a makeshift offensive line and hope that he doesn't have a Joe Burrow type injury.
But I disagree. I disagree that even if we trade it up, that means we're not going to be able to build around them. That just isn't true. A good general manager has to be able to know the ins and outs of managing the cap space and what other draft picks they do have. Yeah, we might have to give up some premium first or second round picks, but damn it, y'all, we got to pay to play, man. Y'all don't understand, I feel like, how close we are
but we're not getting
to being a perpetual mediocre football team. Unless we make a big move to get our quarterback, we're just going to be fucking meandering with our dicks in our hands for another 3 years. I'm not interested in that shit. We need to sell the farm or do whatever it takes to get a quarterback. It's going to be suck that we're not going to have those premium first and second round picks. But so what, dude? If we don't have our quarterback, we don't have our franchise, and that's apparent to everyone watching the Panthers play football.
So what
I understand.
The reality is,
I understand
there isn't going to be a perfect situation where you can just trade away all the picks and then magically build this wall. If that was possible, every team would have been able to do that by this point. Right? It's just not. It's not in the cards for a general manager, especially new to the general manager position, is going to be able to come in, work out this magic to trade up, give away all our pieces to be able to build to all our draft picks this year and the next couple of years.
All of our pieces. Would you give up a first and second round this year and next year if that was it?
Yes. Yes, but I don't think we're going to be able to do that. I just don't think that
it's going to be way more expensive than that.
Think about how costly it's been in the past for us to move up just a couple of picks outside the top 10 into the top 10 or at 8 to 4 or something like that. You're really going to have to jump into the second position right now to get the guy that you want. And it's not going to be Lawrence. It's not going to be Trevor Lawrence. He's off the table. It's not going to happen. And you could see the reason why it's not going to happen. His arm talent is legit, dude. Is that he didn't have a great game. Clemson didn't have a great game. But even in a bad game, you could see it's all there, right?
Yeah.
For Trevor Lawrence. There are – I wonder, though, watching that game, Cody, I think you have – and so I don't think he is in some ways, I think you've overinflated how good he is.
I think you haven't watched enough Trevor Lawrence.
I mean, I can tell you that. I can promise you that. But I just can't say this is that you've put him up on this pedestal of some of the most elite talents in the world. And he's good, but I don't know if he is.
Career.
He's lost 2 games, right? Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of incredible things. He's been on an incredible team too. Let's not forget that. I just don't know if he is. Is he going to be the greatest quarterback of all time? Like, that's what you've built him to be.
I think his first year in the NFL, he'll be a top 10 quarterback.
I can't wait to see it. It's not going to be for the Carolina Panthers. But what Cody is that even if we were to get that quarterback this year in the draft, it's still going to be 2 years before we're any good.
That's not true. Look what Sola said in the chat. Cody's right. The Eagles didn't struggle to rebuild after the Wentz trade. They won a Super Bowl. The Rams and the Eagles moved up for their quarterback. I'm sorry. I just don't subscribe to this
I'm not
notion.
saying that you can't build around it. I'm not saying that. I think that we're just farther out than just a quarterback.
I mean, maybe so, but you have to think with some free agent moves, cutting K1 short.
We don't have any money though. You're gonna get like, you're not gonna get any money from those. You're gonna get $10 million against the cap for K1.
You're gonna have enough to pay some people. Like we're not that many people away from being a legitimate contender. Look how close we were this year.
Right now, according to overthecap.com, we only have $16.25 million in cap space.
Which is crazy because I thought at the beginning of the year we had, like right at the beginning of the year, we were talking about there were going to be so much cap space.
If we cut K1.
What website are you on?
Over the cap, which is the best one. Over the cap. If we cut K1, that goes up to 25.
Which we will.
And then if you cut Robbie Anderson, that would go up another 8.
Which it's very possible that happens.
So what? All right, you're going to tell me that isn't enough money to grab a key piece in free agency to be able to add someone to our.
I mean, I think you can add somebody, but at the same time, you're also going to be losing. You have to add a left tackle. You have to add a left guard. You have to add, is Paradis on the final year of his deal?
Yeah.
Paradis is a free agent right now. Is that right?
No, I think he's got one more year.
One more year on his deal. Yeah.
Which he can be cut this year and probably save some money as well.
His is that he can be cut. No, you really get the dead money in it or about a wash. Yeah. Right, so you do get some cap savings, but still $5.4 million.
But it wouldn't be worth it. Yeah, it wouldn't be.
Yeah, is that I just right now I'm thinking this is that like that's why I think we're 2 years out, man, before we're really have a chance of putting some pieces on the table. Now that doesn't mean you don't get the quarterback. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you don't trade up. I'm not saying you don't try to get the quarterback or you make an aggressive move here. I'm just saying that adding that quarterback, sadly, is going to – we're still going to have a tough year next year.
I don't believe it. I don't think that we have to be stuck in that hell. I just don't.
You don't think so? You think that all of a sudden we had a quarterback we're a 10-win team?
Tony, we
That's
had
crazy.
8. How many games did we play this year where it came down to the final drive?
But we're going to be a completely different team next year, so it's like kind of even hard to figure out. You know that, like, yes, if we would have had a different quarterback this year, we might have had 10 wins, but we didn't.
If we have Taylor Moton next year, and if we're able to draft some more pieces this year, we already have guys on the roster. I mean, yeah, we're going to have to figure it out. But, look at how a bunch of no names have played on the offensive line this year. You and I have both been saying that the offensive line has been a pleasant surprise. I mean, maybe not the past 2 games, but there was a stretch when they had decent pocket protection for Bridgewater. So,
I agree with that, but they're not going to be, half of them. You have to, if you want even that line, you got to re-sign a lot of them, even if they're 1-year deals. So I think that, like you said, there's a lot of work cut out for you. I'm going to go ahead to the next call. I want you to think on this question as we listen to this call. Is not whether or not the Carolina Panthers should get a quarterback in the draft this year. Will they? Do you think they will do it? The number's 252-228-5098.
What's going on, C3 Nation? This your boy Jay Anderson hitting y'all up, man. I'm just looking at this game and I'm just laughing at and disgusted at the same time because basically, man, this, before this season, all these Teddy loyalists and Cam haters, they're talking about how they gon', they don't need Cam and stuff like that, got a better, accurate quarterback than Teddy, and I hate to drop on Teddy, because this really ain't Teddy's fault. It's really the Cam haters and the Teddy loyalists' fault, and stuff like that. That's the one who got my blood boiled. As well as Joe Brady, as well as Matt Rule, and, because I'm like, this here, boy, and they talking about winning coaching, man. This is not winning coaching at all. The quarterback needs to go. And I'm more mad at Washington last week for not winning. I'm more mad at Dwayne Haskins for not playing better. Cause they could have made the Panthers, they could have give the Panthers an L. So we'll be in a better spot to get a franchise quarterback. But this, man, clearly, this, Teddy needs to go. All them boys, the 4-man rush and Panther coaching, germ eating ignorance, I ain't care what his last name, him, they all need to shut the F up forever.
Are people still saying Teddy isn't the problem? Is that even a thing?
I haven't seen.
I can't even believe that is like those people have to be in hiding now.
There is still that. I saw some Panthers podcast that was talking about Teddy Bridgewater being not that bad. He's actually not the problem. And it was this group of guys on this mic, and they were just like all just sucking on that massive D of Teddy Bridgewater. And it was just so weird because they were not providing any substance to what they were saying other than he's not that bad. I mean, he's got a 70% completion rate. He's got number 2 in the NFL. I'm like sitting there thinking, are you blind? I had to stop listening after about 30 seconds of hearing that. I just couldn't even deal with it.
I saw that too. I can't understand how anybody. I guess maybe Mark Schlereth today had the wherewithal to bring up his 70% completion rate. He said wherewithal like 32 times today.
Look, we talk about. Actually, I have my ice up pick ready, or maybe the towel shape or whatever we decide to do. But
the Panthers right now are at 8th in the draft, guys. 8th. The teams ahead of them: Jacksonville, New York Jets, Miami at 3, Atlanta, Cincinnati, Philly, Detroit, and then to Carolina. Right now, there are 4 teams that need a quarterback on that list at the minimum, maybe 5. So I think Jacksonville, Jets, Miami. Yeah, Miami's a maybe, right?
Yeah, Miami's a maybe.
I put Atlanta as a yes.
I would say probable at this point, right?
I have a question about the Atlanta thing. Matt Ryan, what's his situation contract wise?
Well, everyone says they can't trade him, but I think if they're looking at a quarterback they like, then they would want to have the guy on the roster so they can move on. Like, how long until Matt Ryan is the next Drew Brees, where his arm just falls off a cliff and
Matt Ryan's still fairly young,
that offense?
How about this? Is Matt Ryan, holy shit, is about to make some money, yo.
I know, it's embarrassing.
Holy cow. Somehow.
But what's his stats though? That's what I'm curious, because like I feel like their problem is less quarterback and more everything else on their team.
Yeah, but it's like, when are you going to be here again type moment.
Yeah.
You know, but he is 36 years old. He is slated, if you cut, you can't cut him. I mean, he's going to get 17, 21 next year, 21. He's not really untradeable. I don't see, I mean, you would have to suck up 2 more years of $21 million at quarterback. But that's not awful in this day. I'd rather have Matt Ryan than Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
I'd rather death. Dude, I'm so not used to the quarterback of the Panthers being just an average chump. It just sucks, man. It's a bad feeling. I'm not into it. We need to fix this.
All right, we got 90 viewers. You know what we need to fix is, I know we had some trouble with the stream earlier, but I kicked all the kids off the FaceTime and the video games. We're down to, we got 90 people watching, upwards of 90 people, only 27 likes. Go ahead and smash the thumbs up button. We're going to go to the next call. The number's 252-228-5098.
What's up? I'm just calling to let y'all know I'm on my way to Kroger's to get some baked beans, some potato salad, some corn on the cob, because we about to have some Drew Brees barbecue ribs tonight. You know the ribs gonna get cracked, baby back ribs. And I want to say ice up to Alvin Kamara. We know you got the COVID because you had a dirty nose ring. Everybody knows it. Ice it up. He'll be back next year. He's sorry, second.
God, next go.
Hey, this is Kevin from Charleston. Yo, Cody, what happened to your boys Friday? Fucking Clemson? What the fuck happened?
Yo.
I'll tell you what happened. State took their Buckeyes and stuck it straight into that crimson, purple, and orange pussy and fucking raped them. That's what they fucking did. You know, Tony the Tiger, you know what his slogan was? It's great! You know what the Crimson Tiger slogan is? It's rape! But besides all that, Justin Fields is fucking amazing. And the beautiful 56-yard touchdown.
What happened to his call?
I got my dick hard from it. It's very awkward because my dad was just right across from
This call is awkward. I'm going to the next one. I can't hear it anymore.
Well, let me respond to him then. No. We don't just move on. I got to respond to that shit.
All right.
One is a salty ass Gamecock fan. Okay, the South Carolina Gamecocks are like the cucks of the SEC. They tout all of the accomplishments of Alabama because their team is so terrible, and Clemson has beaten them 5 years in a row because they're the dumpster fire in South Carolina. Number two, Ohio State has played a much shorter schedule than Clemson. I'm taking nothing away from them, but the Clemson Tigers have been doing football shit since June. Okay, Ohio State was the better rested football team, and they came and they beat our asses. They beat our asses in the trench, and they beat our asses on the field. I still know that our future is going to be much better than any South Carolina fan. I know that, so I'm still happy. And hey, maybe you watched your new quarterback in Justin Fields.
What happened in that game, dude? How'd y'all get your ass beat so bad?
Justin Fields and his receiver core, they fucking went off. They had something to prove. We were missing our free safety for the start of the game because of a targeting penalty in the ACC championship game. That was important. We lost our middle linebacker due to a targeting penalty, and their receivers just made plays. Our corners were just outmatched. I mean, Trevor and our offense, for the most part, did okay, but they were able to shut down the run, and they blitzed us a ton, and we just couldn't hold up. Trevor didn't have time to throw the football, really. So
is his stock going to slide a little, and not because he's not just an electric offensive talent, but you saw him just get mugged in pass protection. Is that going to be a problem at the pro level?
Not really a problem, because that's always been his slight. He's never been a great pass protector, but the other skills that he has, they're by far enough to make him a first round talent. He's going to run into 4.3s, and him coming back to Clemson made him like an almost maybe even over 1,000-yard receiver. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but he wasn't catching passes before this year. So this year he really did finally look like a legitimate Alvin Kamara with rocket boosters up his ass. Like,
yeah, he was
doing everything. And he's hard to tackle. Man, the first contact never brings him down.
What about the Sherman guy?
Trey Sherman, yeah, man. He was a transfer from Oklahoma, went to Ohio State, broke Eddie George's single-season rushing record for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, and I mean, runs. They kept saying he runs angrily. And
he does.
He kind of reminds me of like an Eddie George, to be honest.
Yeah.
In some ways.
And guess what?
Yo.
But guess what? That's why you don't pay running backs.
That's why you don't pay running backs. All right, 252-228-5098. If it will play.
Hey, this is Tanner up in Elkin, and I was just seeing a lot of people talking about, like, should the Panthers try to get a quarterback now that they're at the 9th pick? And I really disagree with that, because I was just looking through contracts that are ending in 22, and one of them is our current guy, TD. I think he only had 2 years, maybe it was 3 years. The third year is pretty much nothing. But I kind of think the Panthers should go with bolstering the O-line, things like that, make an appealing team so that a veteran quarterback might look at our team and be like, hey, that looks like good opportunity to go in and win some games. And there's one guy in particular whose his contract will be ending in 22 or at the end of the 21 season, I believe, and that is Aaron Rodgers. You know, the Packers, they drafted Jordan Love last year, and they're probably looking to ship Rodgers out, even if he is going to be, MVP level quarterback like that. I don't know. Maybe it's a pipe dream, but I want to hear y'all's thoughts on it.
Is there a chance the Panthers try to address this issue in a different manner than through the draft? Right? And right now, I don't think that the current consensus of, or at least when people talk, that the current attitude about how to build a Super Bowl team, it always seems to include the rookie deal.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Right? Is that's where we hear, like, rarely, I guess the real example would be is, could you do something like the Bucs are doing? You know, I mean, would that be the comparison? Would that be the comparison, bringing Aaron Rodgers in here?
It's not something that I would want to do, just because listen, but listen, if we got Aaron Rodgers and he was still able to do Aaron Rodgers shit, fine. Like that we're talking about a whole different thing at that point. Still, I want a young quarterback that we can call our own, that we can groom from the ground up, and that we can hone their talents and turn into the next franchise quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. I think it takes time. I think we have a good situation in which to do it, with Joe Brady still being on the team. That's another thing that's going to be a big contentious point this offseason, is whether or not Joe Brady is going to be worth the head coaching job and the offers that he's sure to receive. I really do think that we have a good spot for a young quarterback more so than an older one. I mean, either way, you're still talking about building your football team.
How much would you have to pay him? You know what I'm saying? Oh my God.
Rodgers?
Yes, you have to pay him. And he is no joke when it comes to his money. He was the one trying to build that clause into his contract, as every time a new quarterback signs, we get to revisit my contract. Because he wants to be like the top paid. You know what I'm saying? Like he wants to be.
It's crazy. Yeah. And you, I mean, just the mentality that he has, I don't get the great team player. I don't see him being a great match with Matt Rule, if I'm being honest. Because Matt Rule is going to want to control the way things go and whatnot. And I think Aaron Rodgers is going to want to control the way things go. I don't think that's a good idea. I think it is a temporary fix to a long-term problem. And then we're going to be right back and we're talking about mediocrity again. You know, we're back to being middle of the pack. And the only thing I have a problem with bolstering the offensive line and not going with the quarterback this year is what that's going to do is it's going to make our team an 8-8 team next year with Teddy Bridgewater as quarterback and out of the quarterback conversation at all at that point as well. You know, that's the only thing.
I don't think we can win it. I don't think we're going to win more than 5 with Teddy, period. No matter the team you put around him. At this point, I feel like he's.
But you have Christian McCaffrey back there as well. Christian McCaffrey does a lot, right, as far as taking that pressure off of Bridgewater, because that's going to be his dump off. That's going to be the guy. And then Christian McCaffrey's ability to get yards after the catch is going to save Teddy Bridgewater's, underthrows.
But I feel like we know how to play. Like, I mean, it was, they said it in the broadcast on the Washington football team game, is like, you know what to do against Carolina. Is you just put all those guys, you keep it underneath, and you dare them to try to go over the top on you, like, because they can't do it. And so I think that, like, it, and I do know that I do think Christian McCaffrey could add something to the team, but at the same time, I don't know if he could if Teddy Bridgewater is out there, he, like you guys said, Cody has said, he's regressed. I think that this is that, like, I don't see any prospect of you being very successful with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback.
Yeah, even with McCaffrey. I mean, McCaffrey is not going
even
to buy
with a better offensive line, unless you were just able to run the ball like 200 yards a game.
That's what I'm talking about.
Chew the clock down and play a defensive team. But I don't think we could even do that, given all the problems we got on the offensive line. I don't even think a first-round draft pick is going to fix it. It's not going to fix it. It's just going to put you in a better position to get it fixed over the next couple of years.
Guys, the Broncos went to the Super Bowl with noodle arm Peyton Manning at the helm, like, who did nothing to help his team whatsoever.
Still better than Bridgewater, though.
No, he was not. Did you remember that season? He couldn't throw the ball 5 yards down the field.
But it's a washed-up old Peyton Manning. Like, even a washed-up old Peyton Manning is better than this guy.
Agree.
What I'm saying is, even if Christian McCaffrey comes back, we still have a quarterback that can't throw the football downfield. So now it goes back to shut down Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey doesn't equal another W in this on this football team.
Well, maybe one or two. As the
quarterback.
Maybe one or two.
I think it would be. I think you'd get to possibly 3 more wins with Christian McCaffrey,
because we lost every game that he's been in this year.
But what are those games? Like, we were playing against some heavy hitters. Those games, like, we were playing against the Tampa Bay Bucks. We were playing against the freaking Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, let's be honest about some things. We can't put that the reality is we were closer in that Kansas City Chiefs because of Christian McCaffrey's gameplay. And it's different when you see him on the field, when you see him play, like, it is different. Like, our offense ran differently with Christian McCaffrey in there. I'm not saying we're going to win and go to the playoffs, but I'm saying 2, 3, 4 more wins this season is very reasonable to expect when you have your star running back in the mix.
I would be more concerned if we started PJ next year. Like, I think that if we would have started PJ this year, we would have had 3 more wins.
Yeah, we should have started PJ after he beat the Lions to see what we had in him. If he had more time in the offense to be able to get into rhythm, would he be able to do it? And that's what I wanted to see. That's what a lot of us wanted to see. But we didn't get that chance.
Let's go to the next call. 252-228-5098.
Hey, Tanner again. Just a correction. Yeah, Rodgers doesn't come available for a while, like until 24 or something. But my thought remains the same. I think that the Panthers should just continue to build their O-line, stick with Teddy for next year, or maybe swap in, try TJ. I just don't think that there's going to be a quarterback at 9 that would really want it. And even if there were, I would rather see us continue to build the trenches.
Cody, is there a quarterback other than Wilson, Fields, and Lawrence that you would be comfortable picking?
Yeah, Trey Lance. Listen, Trey, you have to understand, people are only down on Trey Lance because he didn't play football this year. Trey Lance was Zach Wilson before Zach Wilson.
Didn't he go to the same school Carson Wentz went to?
Yeah, this is the North Dakota State Bison. Better.
Well, why is Carson Wentz done then? Why is everybody off the Carson Wentz train? Do you think that's a little premature to write him off entirely?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I would. Like I said, I mean, it wouldn't be my first choice, but I would be at least a little more hopeful going into next season with Carson Wentz than Teddy Bridgewater.
That's crazy, given the season Carson Wentz has had.
I know, but
I don't know what happened to him, but it's a one. I won't say a one-off. I just feel like we closed the door on players so quickly, and maybe, I guess people would probably say, well, you could say that about Teddy Bridgewater. I never opened the door on him. That was the thing, is that I saw that from the beginning, or at least I think we all saw, man, these limitations, you can only hide them so much. And we were not able to hide them. Let me ask you this, what is your thoughts on the coaching staff now by this point? Today, what was up with that damn challenge flag from Rule?
I honestly, in that moment, I was thinking, oh, they're really wanting to lose this game.
That's what I thought too.
Same thing. That's what I thought initially. Like, that was my first thought. I'm like, oh, they are trying to lose, and make it not look like it's an actual attempt at losing. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man.
Joe Brady's going to be with us again.
There's a trend in the NFL of people in the booth, fucking up and calling down to the coach and saying, hey, challenge. And the coach kind of thinks, well, they have the sky view. They're able to see the camera angles. So, yeah, I might as well throw the flag. But then they see it, and they're like, oh, are you fucking kidding me? Did y'all see that gif of Bill Belichick? I think I forget who they were playing. I think it was the Buffalo Bills. And Bill Belichick made this stupid challenge. And after the challenge is failed, he goes and he's talking on the phone, and he slams the phone down because he's pissed off at the guy that told him to challenge. I kind of think that might have been what happened to Matt Rule.
Yeah.
I don't know. As far as our coaches, man, I said this before the year. There was nothing that was going to happen in 2020 that was really going to make me have a strong opinion either way. Were they perfect this year? No. But do I think that Joe Brady and Phil Snow and Matt Rule made a whole lot of nothing into a little bit of something? Yeah, I do think they did that. And I think that's a good sign going forward into 2021. I'm not, a lot of people are really down on Phil Snow. I maintain that a lot of that 3-5 that everyone can't stand is a lot of just being hamstrung into having to do it and not having enough of a defensive roster to be able to man a true 4-3 or 3-4.
Oh, I think that for me, if anything, I think Phil Snow's stock has climbed, in my opinion, or my faith in him has increased. If anything, I would say that my faith in Joe Brady has plateaued right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm down on him, but 2 months ago, if we're sitting here talking, I'm sitting here going, man, this guy, right, is doing everything right. And towards the end, it just kind of felt, it's just been meh.
It felt average. It didn't feel like he was an elite offensive coordinator. I didn't see anything that made me feel like, and we can talk about being hamstrung, or held back by a quarterback that can't throw the ball long farther than 10 yards. But at the same time, I mean, even with that, it didn't feel like we were really throwing things out there that were unexpected, right? It seemed like defenses really knew what was coming every time. And yes, that's partially on Teddy Bridgewater, but I think you've got to put some of that accountability on Joe Brady as well.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that it's declined. It's just he plateaued for me in November.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And we have just kind of been in the same spot for the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I agree with that, but again, I do think that he was hamstrung by Teddy Bridgewater, and I do. Listen, if we're going to give him credit for the bad stuff, which is 100% fair, and I'm all on board with, we have to give him credit for the good stuff too, in that look, we have 2,000-yard receivers, and we have built an offense that, for as terrible as it was, allowed Teddy Bridgewater to have the best year of his whole career. So
let me ask you, do you give credit to Teddy Bridgewater for those 1,000-yard receivers?
No.
So how can we give it to Joe Brady?
Because we're not giving it to Teddy. So who do we give it
to? But Teddy Bridgewater isn't calling the plays to get them open in space, and Joe Brady is.
I mean, I think that when you talk about throwing the ball within 5 yards, it's an easy completion. You're going to find somebody a lot of times open at that point in time.
Yeah,
I think credit for those 1,000-yard receivers, 100% are on the receivers. Like 110% are on the receivers, making incredible plays and fighting for each other. But I didn't see any incredible, just it didn't feel like it was above average as far as play calling this, at least these last few weeks. It just felt like it was the same old. Like he hasn't, I don't feel like there's been adjustments at halftime for his offense. I mean, I don't know about you, Tony, but I don't feel that way.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Let me ask both of you. Don't you also feel, though, like we haven't seen the best out of this dude? Because I definitely do. I
don't have a problem. I actually don't have a problem with this play calling at all. Is that I don't even need you to wow me with crazy shit. So that's what I'm just saying is that our offense plateaued. And so did my opinions of Joe Brady. He has not left me disheartened. Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, totally. Is that I'm just feeling like on the exit ticket right now is that he was just hotter in my mind earlier on. But I think this is, and I think if anybody wants to challenge Cody's position that Joe Brady called the game because of what he had with Teddy Bridgewater, right? Because you
see what happened when PJ came in.
Yeah, it's totally different. And it is more. It's like the same thing, but everything's 10 yards farther down the field.
And dude, you're not gonna look at LSU's offense in 2019 and tell me that was the same thing, that we're doing the same types of things. Maybe the play calling might have been similar in some aspects, but with how dynamic LSU was, they had some incredible receiving talent with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. But dude, I'm telling you, I mean, you all have seen the flashes of DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, and Robbie Anderson. We have speedsters.
How many yards would they have put up? I gotta ask this: is I think DJ's numbers would have probably been. I mean, he would have more catches, some more yards. I think Robbie Anderson would have had 600 more yards if he had a better quarterback.
I think DJ Moore would have been close to a 2,000-yard receiver had he had a
really think that we came into. My friend always says this to me is that when we signed, and I just go on the radio with him. He's not a Panthers fan, but he's a fantasy football guy and all of this. And he said, "Man, we thought that damn Robbie Anderson was a deep threat, and you guys made him a possession receiver. Imagine if he would have been a deep threat this year." How many yards he would have had. It's kind of crazy. I think, if anything, we see that Joe Brady's offense is pass heavy.
But why? But here's my question then, and this is where I talk about the and we've been saying pump the brakes on the Joe Brady talk. Joe Brady has a lot of say in who's the starting quarterback. right? If the playbook opens that much with a different quarterback, why the hell did 8 weeks ago when we all saw Teddy Bridgewater wasn't the answer? Why wasn't he incapable of seeing that?
Why did Teddy start today? Would be is a question I'm interested in. You know,
I think that you have to also look at it from that perspective. I mean, as an offensive head coach or offensive coordinator, he's yes, you can talk about the stats all day, but the reality is he may be held back by a quarterback, but that's his decision to keep that quarterback in.
I don't know if it's only his decision, but yeah, if there's a stain on this on Joe Brady and Matt Rule, and we've put it on Marty Hurney for the contract, it is Teddy Bridgewater. Thinking that you would be able to do enough with him. The number's 252-228-5098. Cover this call for me, guys, real quick.
10-4.
Hey, guys, just another disappointing performance. I mean, really, in a lot of different areas. But I think that, Teddy, he had some I actually thought today we did a better job, especially Joe Brady, of trying to get some of these guys involved in deeper areas. But it's clear. I mentioned it in my last week call. Things about Teddy that just aren't fixable. I mean, we know what this guy is. We know that he's not going to elevate us down the field. He's proven that time and time again. He's not going to be that guy. He's not going to throw down the field.
Yeah.
Try and get you big 30, 40 yard games. Heck, the biggest play of the night tonight was that catch, that throw to DJ Moore, which was severely underthrown, which DJ had a great play on. But, I feel bad for the receiving corps because, they really had a good year.
I feel so bad for these guys.
I'd like to see how, when we can spread the ball down, get the ball down the field better, how it would have gone. Because, there's a chance that Curtis Samuel's not back. I hope he is. He's so dynamic. He can run the ball. He's fast. He's elusive. He's a great route runner. I think today was his most yards game of the year. But Teddy threw, I believe, two. PJ threw three. One he got pressed really badly on. The other one was in the red zone, I believe, which is going to happen with a young quarterback because everything's faster down there. I think those things are more fixable. And now I'm not saying PJ's the guy, but those are things that are fixable from that kind of standpoint, like from a mechanical standpoint and slowing the game down, getting more comfortable. And then the other was a little behind Curtis, but Curtis could have blown that one in. But Teddy threw 3 or 4 more balls that could have been intercepted that weren't. And I think that's what we saw exactly what I was saying, that they whenever you're asking him to throw the ball down the field and not checking the ball down, 90%, a decent amount of time, averaging 6 yards an attempt, it's I think good things don't happen. And right now, we're not in the best spot to get a quarterback in the draft. I think I hope that I hope Trey Lance falls to us at 9 or wherever we end up. I actually haven't seen where we are right now. I think maybe the Eagles. I'm not exactly sure if I think the Eagles game has a little bit of effect on that as well. But I appreciate you guys taking my call, man. I love the podcast. Like I said, I found out about you guys on the round table with Pat and Prasad and them, and it's been great. I found some great Panthers content I love. And I hope you guys are doing well. And I hope your surgery went well last week. I haven't heard about it, but I'm hoping for the best. You all have a good night.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the call. Yeah, and we're glad to have you as part of the community. And I'm sad when I look at Teddy Bridgewater's contract, guys.
Yeah,
man, he's a $20 million. He's a $20 million
dead cap space if we cut him next year. Yeah.
Yeah, and what's even worse about that is he's a $20 million backup quarterback.
Yeah, no, 100%. And one thing I'll talk about with that phone call is something that I even felt today. Like, I feel bad for these receivers. Like, I feel awful. Like, every time I see DJ Moore putting every effort he can to try to come down with the ball, but because the ball wasn't where it should be, it looks bad because now it's saying his targets and as opposed to receptions are this, and now all of a sudden it's a stain on his stats. The fact that he's done what he's done with what he's got has been miraculous. He's had 2 back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons with these quarterbacks, with Kyle Allen and with Teddy Bridgewater.
And to think people have been down on DJ.
You know what it is? You know what it reminds me of a little bit? I'm not making a skill level comparison between the two, but it's like no one said DeAndre Hopkins was one of the best wide receivers in the NFL until Deshaun Watson started throwing him the football. Whereas even before that, DeAndre Hopkins was balling out, making all kinds of crazy catches for Houston even before that. And that situation is kind of similar to me to DJ Moore. Because I feel like he's another guy that doesn't get the media attention at large just because he doesn't have a star throwing the rock at him. By the way, Tony, you were wondering earlier how long it takes before you start to hear news. 56 seconds ago from Adam Schefter, Jets officially parted ways with Adam Gase.
There it is.
Per source. Gase went 9-23 during his 2 seasons as the Jets head coach. Jets now back in the market for another head coach. So you were asking how fast? Before the show ends is apparently how fast.
My gosh.
Do you think the Jets would be silly not to take a quarterback? Are you done? Are you done with Darnold? Because is that he just turns the ball over so much.
He really does. I mean, it's so hard to tell, man. Like, no one would have ever predicted that Ryan Tannehill would have the level of success going from the Miami Dolphins to the Tennessee Titans that he's had, you know? But Sam Darnold did have all of the requisite talents coming out of USC to be considered a top-tier quarterback in the draft. So, I mean, he's been in a terrible situation. I've said before, and that so much of determines what is a successful quarterback is the support structure that he has around him. Yeah. And the Buffalo Bills did it perfect with Josh Allen. Mm-hmm. And, I think even last year, Baker Mayfield wasn't looking too hot. A lot of people would still have their doubts about Baker Mayfield, but you put a good coach on the Cleveland Browns, and now they're in the playoffs, and, Baker looks like he can operate that offense in rhythm. So maybe that's the scenario for the Jets. I mean, maybe if they're able to hire a competent head coach and put real pieces around Sam Darnold, yeah, maybe it is worth it. I mean, imagine what kind of trade offers you're going to have for the number 2 pick from, every team picking in the top 10 almost?
Yeah.
Trying to jump all the other ones? Yeah. You'd be dumb to not at least listen to the offers.
And what's crazy, what's going to be funny about that too, is if they were to listen to those offers, and let's say we were to go to them and say, listen, we'll give you this to trade up to this point. What their first thing is going to be is to call the number 3 pick and say, hey, listen, they're willing to give me this. If you're willing to, equal that and only have me move back to 3, I'll do it. And then all of a sudden, now we've just been jumped because those people know that we're going to be taking a quarterback if we were to jump to 2. So there's just so much leverage and so much negotiation. It's so tough. But I'll tell you this, and we were talking about, what are our options outside of the draft? I think 100%, like knowing what I feel about Tepper, I feel like Tepper, he went and got his guy with Matt Rule. He went and got his guy with Joe Brady. He's going to go get his guy in the draft.
I think you're right. I'm kind of feeling the way Tepper said it when he parted ways with Marty Hurney. I think he is starting to get anxious and speeding up the process. And I think one thing that we've kind of at least learned about Tepper is that he is he's okay with turning the page to the next phase.
Yeah.
And to be honest, is that I wouldn't be surprised if the Carolina Panthers just simply released Teddy Bridgewater or traded him somewhere for like a 6. I don't even know who you would do it to.
Nobody's going to take his contract on, I'll be honest with you. Like, if we can maybe negotiate with a team and do a trade and where we'll take $10 million of his cap hit, and then that way it's not so much on us, and they have a quarterback that could very well, lead them to something better than what they were this year, then maybe you might find somebody who's willing to trade. But that's the only way, is if we just say straight up, take him, but we'll take $10 million of the cap hit.
So listen, I am not smart enough to even start to talk about this. Well, so let me do it anyway. But like, there are scenarios from time to time where there are trades that involve 3 teams.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if we could figure out something between Miami, Houston, and us for Deshaun. Because if the Texans liked Trey Lance or Zach Wilson, if we could figure out a way to get them the number 3 pick and then let Miami have our 7th pick, like, I don't know what I'm talking about.
But why would they even? Why does Houston need to do that though? Why they have Deshaun? And
because they've had to pay Deshaun. They've had to pay Deshaun, and we all know that if you want to build a team, having a star quarterback that you're paying bukus of money to, like Deshaun's getting, then you're going to have a hard time building a team like that.
Well, but that is true. But at the same time, Deshaun this year has had a career year.
Yeah.
Like if you look at his numbers, he's like number 2 to only like Patrick Mahomes, and he's playing on a fucking dumpster fire football team. Like Deshaun Watson, and you're gonna say I'm just a Clemson fan or whatever. People will, but dude, Deshaun Watson really is a transcendent talent. Like that's
here's
the problem.
The thing. This is why they're not going to do this, and why they shouldn't. Is because in 2021, his big money doesn't kick in until 2022. He's only 25 years old right now. In 2021, next year, he counts $15.9 million against the cap. That's it.
15.
He's 8.6% of their cap. Now, that number over doubles the following
Bridgewater,
year.
isn't it?
That number.
That's embarrassing.
That number over doubles in the following year, where he goes to 35 million. He's going to be 40 million against their cap in 2022. But I don't see, for me, I understand the idea of like if you can catch lightning in a bottle and build around a rookie quarterback, but I think once you have a quarterback, you keep him. And right now, I don't think that I'm comfortable if I'm the Texans paying him $35 million and getting what I get from him, and the Panthers paying $20 million to Teddy.
And by the way,
I will just stick with that deal. I just want to keep my payment.
By the way, Deshaun Watson is the only bargaining chip that the Houston Texans have moving forward, looking for a brand new head coach and general manager. Like, if you're going to go to Houston, literally the only reason you're going is because of Deshaun.
Yep.
So
I just think once what we've learned and what Cam showed us, what so many things have showed us, until you have the quarterback, you don't got it. Like, it's just that simple. And once you got him, you keep him. I mean, or else Green Bay, unless you want to be one of those teams that just has this, that you want to prove you're smarter than everybody else, so you part ways with Aaron Rodgers before you have to. And you're like trying to do what Bill Belichick has done with a lot of players, and that is the Trent Brown or whatever. They see 1 year ahead of what's coming, and you're like, oh nah, Rodgers is it, and then they're like, but I don't even think you do that. Like, I think once you get a quarterback, you keep him, man. Like, that's like until that is answered, you're always trying to answer it. And so I don't see any reason, if I'm Houston, I even want to dip my toe. I think that you've got a winner. You picked Deshaun Watson at what, 13? What did he get picked at?
Yeah.
Something like that. Like, you got everything you wanted. Keep it. Now you got to figure out how to just put a better team around him and a better coach and a better this and that, not get rid of him. So I don't even think that that's a reasonable,
a viable option. Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand if you're Miami and they have shown some concerns. Cody has said, look, I don't really think that Tua is as good as what it's going to take to be great. And I can see how some of that you could say that. I don't know if I haven't watched all of his games, but I do understand he doesn't have like the blistering arm. But I think he's better. I'd rather have him than Teddy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he represents a higher upside for sure.
Right.
I do like my problem with him and what I've seen is that he doesn't really know what NFL open is. Like he's used to Alabama receivers like Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle, like screaming wide open, and he doesn't really have that with the Dolphins. And there are times when he just either doesn't trust his arm to fit the ball into that window, or he's just not seeing it. I don't know. I mean, it is his first year in the NFL. Like, I don't want to also, it's tough. I don't want to throw the books at him or
keep in mind too. He's not dealing with elite talent on that. Like, this is a Miami team coming into the year. We were convinced we're tanking. They were getting rid of everybody that was important to their organization. And that's
yeah. I mean, they're not the best. I mean, Justin Herbert, if he was on that team, I think that they probably would have been a better team.
I think the Dolphins fans say that, to be honest. Is that, I mean, like, I don't know if you could really confidently say. I mean, like, I think you could say Herbert right now represents like what everybody wants. It's like the explosive down this and that. But Tua won. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have not been losing. Now, it might not be because of Tua, right? But they have been. They won like 11 games this year or something.
Yeah, I mean, no, they just missed the playoffs. But I think the question is, though, I remember before the Combine last year, it was either Bucky Brooks or Daniel Jeremiah was saying that they were talking to a scout for the Miami Dolphins, and they were saying that they have done all the work possible on the quarterbacks in the 2020 draft and the 2021 draft. So the fact that they have now the number 3 pick in the draft, like they have a better pick than they did last year when they grabbed Tua.
But they could have gotten Herbert. They had their choice and they went with Tua.
Yeah, that's true. But now, literally the very next year, they have a redo. Like they have another crack. Like what happens if you're them and either of Lance, Fields, or Wilson falls down to them?
Do you think he's a Josh Rosen type of bust?
I don't. I mean, listen, maybe this is just a part of my own personal philosophy. I really have a hard time with quarterbacks that don't have the requisite arm talent.
Yeah.
Like so arm talent I define as being able to drive the football into a tight window. There are a lot of guys that don't have premier arm talent that are actually good at throwing the deep ball. Like Matt Ryan, Jared Goff. I wouldn't say that any of them have top tier arm talent. But they know how, they're good at throwing the football down the field. Russell Wilson is another one. The best.
Yeah, I was going to say Russell.
Yeah, the best deep ball thrower that there is. And you never hear him mentioned as like a top 5 arm talent.
I think Tua reminds me of Russell Wilson a lot.
I don't know if he's going to develop that kind of touch and that kind of rhythm. He might. It's only his first year in the NFL. But Russell is also a lot more mobile than Tua by a lot.
All right, 252-228-5098.
Hey, fellas, this is PD Riggs 19. And after watching this game tonight, yeah, we definitely need a quarterback. I haven't really been a fan of Teddy since we signed him. I didn't think that was a good signing, being a 5 or 6 year quarterback, and he just hasn't really been too successful, other than those 5 games last season with the Saints. But with all that being said, he does do some things well, and with those things that he does well, that's pre-snap read sometimes for maybe 75-80% of the time, and then also the short passing game. So I think that if we do draft a quarterback, I know that they'll still have Teddy start next season, but it'll be a better transition to let a younger quarterback kind of sit behind him and at least learn those aspects of the game. Let me know what you think. Have a nice nice night, guys.
I think that's a reasonable assumption to make. I think there are a couple of things that are going to be problematic. Is number one, as I would look towards what happened with the Chargers this year and how injury facilitated the start of Justin Herbert. But I got to tell you this, is that we've seen the limitations of Teddy Bridgewater so far. So you come out there and you start 0-2, and Teddy does the same crap he's doing because he can't do anything else. I think this coaching staff right now is getting itchy. I think that the ownership and I'm to the point. I think Tepper has got some buyer's remorse right now when it comes to Teddy Bridgewater.
I think so too.
How do you not? How do you not? Hey, man, listen, let's harp on it some more, man. I think that he made a terrible mistake waiting as long as he did to fire Marty Hurney. I mean, now it's, thank God he's gone, and we are looking. But, I mean, we could have been way further ahead on this process. And we're still stuck in this thing like, who did make the decision to sign Teddy Bridgewater? Was it Joe Brady who wanted his own quarterback? Or was it Matt Rule? Like, does Marty Hurney have no say-so in signing the contract for Teddy Bridgewater, even though he was our general manager and that's his job to do, So I think David Tepper really made a bad decision not doing everything at the same time in one uniform move.
Yeah. I think that
You're gonna move on from your franchise quarterback. You're gonna move on from your head coach in Ron Rivera of over a decade, and you need to let go of your fucking general manager from yesteryear because now he's stuck doing it at a time when a bunch of other really appealing jobs are going to be on the market right now.
All right, let's go to the next call.
What do you do, boys? It's your boy Mike, a.k.a. Supreme Little. Yeah, I got that out quick. So...
What up, bro?
I don't want to do this, man, because I love all of Panther Nation, man. Y'all my boys. Everyone's my boys. We all boys. In the hood. Okay. G. Cavassier, we do. Excuse me. Not need to fire Phil Snow after one season with scrubs and rookies.
That's what I'm saying. Tell them.
I love you, dude. You're one of my favorite callers. You bring the energy, and I feel the Panther pride. But
that's right.
Let's give them another season or two before we Eric Washington him. Okay?
That's right.
Or oh my God, what's that to do? Anyways, yeah. I heard Cody mention this earlier. The only way we're getting that quarterback is if we trade up, and the only suitable trade partners I see are Miami by way of Houston. I could easily see 3 quarterbacks going in the first 4 picks. I could see 4 quarterbacks going in the first 4 picks if somebody else trades up for that spot. If it's not us, we got to pull the trigger.
I think we missed our window, man.
In the past, I don't see that happening, but this is a new regime, so we'll see what's up. 2021, boys. Let's do it. Off-season time. Can't wait for free agency, and hopefully we can get another Robbie Anderson-type player and who could step up and give a boost somewhere for us. Keep pounding, boys. Panther Pride to life.
Pounding. Supreme Leader. Yeah, man. Look, I maintain you can't be too hard on any of our coaches, let alone Phil Snow. And Tony, let me run this by you. I kind of feel like, in some senses, I'm not talking about any one specific person's criticism of Phil Snow, but I feel like there's a little bit of ageism with Phil Snow. Like, I kind of feel like he's the one old codger on our coaching staff, and Matt Rule and Joe Brady are like these younger guys that are more the face of what we're trying to be, right? I kind of feel like people see the weird, outdated college offense and they also see this older guy calling it. I honestly do think there's a little bit of ageism in some of the critiques of our man Phil Snow.
Yeah, I could see that. I think I've been excited about Phil Snow from the beginning. And you can go check the tape on everything. Is like, look, we didn't have a lot to work with. You know, we're in a big time of transition. And for me, the one thing that I've always been kind of cautious about is the next young wave. Right?
Whoa, about that daddy appears.
Holy cow.
I wish I had the Batman music.
So for me, Cody, though, just to finish this off, and then we'll welcome Greg in, is that I think that sometimes that having that old hat brings a sort of wisdom to the table.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I continue to look at what the Rams did in Sean McVay's opening year or two, and then they had Wade Phillips. And Wade Phillips created as McVay could say, you worry about the damn defense, bro. You just take care of it. And he's like, I got this. I think Phil Snow brings, kind of a tenure to the table that none of the other guys really have. The other guys are young, exciting, hardworking whippersnappers. But I don't think he's a bad asset to have on this team. And I think, if anything, he's shown that he really can get these boys playing pretty well. I have no concerns about him yet. And I'm with you. I think you said it best. Is like there's really nothing that could happen this year, other than us just looking completely unprepared at every moment. Yeah, that could really make us overly question. I think maybe if the offense looked in shambles a little bit, I would have said, "Man, I don't know if Joe Brady's ready yet." But
if there were reports of if there was a bad locker room vibe and there were reports of it or something.
But I don't get that. I don't get that feeling. So right now, I think if anything, I think they just have over-exceeded expectations.
Yeah. I think so. Like I said, this coaching staff, I think, has had to do a whole lot with a very little. And I've been impressed. I want to give all these coaches another year to really impress me. And I think that the door is open for them to be able to do so.
All right, Greg, the Bat Daddy 52 in the house. How you doing? How were the in-laws?
Oh, it was good, man. Oh, actually, it was actually my parents.
Oh,
so
it was your parents.
Fun. Yeah. So, okay. I mean, the in-laws are fun too. Don't get me wrong, I like that. But hey, real quick, I wanted to say, buy a lottery ticket. 74 people watching, 47 thumbs up. Get the thumbs up before you do that. Buy a lottery ticket because that's lucky. 74.
Yeah. All right.
So, okay. Are y'all talking about coaching staff and what they've been doing? Because I have some thoughts on Joe Brady.
I'm sure you do.
As everybody knows here, I'm not a huge fan of the coaching staff, but I'm going to give them a chance because it is the first year. I get that. I can't stand this talk about people talking about Joe Brady needs to be the head coach of this and this and this. Fuck that. What has Joe Brady done to show that he's a head coach?
I agree.
Because he's a young, popular white guy. Is that why he should be a head coach? Because he hasn't done anything else to prove he should be a head coach. Now, I'm not saying he can't. He very well may one day. But as of right now, first year, 5 wins, 15 touchdowns by his quarterback. I don't know. Maybe he got one today. 16 by his quarterback.
He didn't.
Okay.
No, don't worry. You're good.
Okay, yeah. I barely watched any of the game. So what does he deserve to be a head coach of from that? I'll vote for Eric Bieniemy any day of the week to be a head coach for that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I actually agree with you 100%, Greg. I feel like a lot of people have kind of felt like I'm, saying that Joe Brady deserves to be a head coach. I mean, basically, if I'm him, I don't want to be a head coach yet. Mm-hmm. I want a few more years to continue to build and see how it's done on the NFL level. For my own, if I was him, that's what I would want.
Yeah.
However,
he needs to take his lumps too.
Yeah, he does need to take his lumps. I guess what I said earlier before you were on the show is that Joe Brady has had to do a lot with a very limited quarterback. And if we're going to give him his fair share of the blame for the offense being as bad as it is. We also have to give him his credit for 2,000-yard receivers. A rushing game that, even though it wasn't Christian, it didn't fall completely off the map, you know? So it's like it's both ways. I don't think he's deserving of the job, but I also see why a bunch of people are going to want to try and be early on the next Sean McVay, if that's who they think that he is.
It's like Dogecoin. Get in early.
All right. Yeah. Next call.
I want to talk about Rodney Smith and leading in the yards.
Is this the running back today? Is that what he's talking about?
Yeah. So, yeah.
What were his stats? He looked all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I feel like he's the reason Cody and them are gonna get to say it doesn't matter who your running back is because you could just throw some guy to the wolves for a game, and he runs 6 yards and he squeaks through, and you're like, see, I told you so. You didn't need Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. And I got to ask, does this mean that we have a good running backs coach or that we have a good run blocking offensive line?
Neither.
Or is it just every guy we seem to put in seems to be able to produce? Not produce, but I've seen a lot of players worse than them, you know?
Maybe a little bit of all
was
those
he? Let's
things,
see what he even did. I don't even know what he did today.
But by the way, Tony, you mentioned Trey Sherman earlier for Ohio State. Like, what happens if that guy is just sitting around in the 3rd round?
I know,
you know, and but like that's literally the crux of my entire anti-McCaffrey argument. It isn't that Christian McCaffrey isn't a badass, like he clearly is. Like, I'm not trying to take anything away from how incredible of a football player Christian is. It's just that at that position, like even a dual threat running back that passes or that catches the football and runs the football, like more and more of those running backs are coming through the draft in just about all rounds. So that's why I say you don't pay him.
I almost say you don't draft him. And I know that this sounds crazy. Rodney Smith today had 10 carries for 40 yards. So he didn't.
That's not great. It's not bad.
I mean, he had a touchdown.
Yeah.
When I say you don't draft him, I think a lot of people tried to do this. Is everything is so faddish in sports. So you saw a couple years where running backs in the top 5 or whatever really made a difference. Zeke Elliott, right? All of a sudden, these offenses started just cooking. But there was a lot of pieces there to go along with them. I think if you're going to draft a running back in the 1st round, I feel like the attitude is that he's going to make our offense just run, and we're going to run his ass into the ground for the next 5 years. I'm kind of surprised that I think that what I'm saying is, Cody, is in support of your position. I almost don't even think it's worth taking a running back in the 1st round. You know, like, I mean, we could be better off now if we would have had a left tackle that year. I don't know. I don't know really what the answer is. I like Christian McCaffrey. I don't dislike him, and I certainly love having him on the team, and I think he's the best running back in the league. I really do think that, and I think Kamara and him are neck and neck. Dalvin Cook is pretty fucking badass too. Yes, and Derrick Henry. These are all great players. Derrick Henry's taking in the 2nd.
Really, really good ones right now. Yeah.
I just don't know what the benefit of having a really great. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I felt like, again, that year we went Christian McCaffrey. We were talking about Fournette, McCaffrey. We could have been talking about other position groups at the same time.
Well, I think at that point we weren't thinking about those position groups. We thought we had them filled.
Yeah,
right.
You know, and not to mention, like, you're right. Maybe had we not taken McCaffrey, we'd have taken a left tackle. Then you're still taking the chances left tackle busts. But even if they don't bust, is a left tackle worth what Christian McCaffrey had last year? 2,000 yards of offense or 2,300 yards of offense and 19 touchdowns? Like, will that left tackle make up for that? Is my only question. And I think that's kind of the model of NFL right now is get a good running back, drive him in the ground for 4 or 5 years, then trade him away. Look at Dallas. That's what they do, and they do a great job of it. They've had a great running game for years because that's what they've done. They've drafted a great young running back, ran him in the ground for a few years, traded him away, and he was nothing.
But they also paid Ezekiel Elliott a bunch of money, and now
after his contract's up, he's going to be gone. His production has declined in every aspect of the game every year he's been in.
They shouldn't have paid
because that's what running backs do when you run them that much.
I think that the drop off. I don't think the drop off of Christian McCaffrey is going to be significant after the Patriots
because he has more skills. I agree because he has more skills.
I think he's more diverse. But I just wonder if it's worth. You said, Cody, you get on me because I don't think you should take a tight. Like if we take a tight end in the top 10, I'm gonna quit the podcast.
It better be Rob Gronkowski-esque tight end.
I'll quit with you together if we.
Yeah, we're not really gonna quit, but we will say that. Yeah, and then we'll be back the next Tuesday.
By the way, the only other 2 tackles from that class of McCaffrey was. Garrett Bowles, who is the current left tackle for the Denver Broncos, and Ryan Ramczyk, who I just know from being close and having Saints people in my family. He has been one of the steals of the draft for them, a franchise right tackle. So
I have a problem. I guess I got a problem with the idea, Cody, is that when people are over, like when you say you're in the top 5, you got to take the quarterback this year. Like, I mean, you're not saying that in every case whatsoever. If you had a quarterback,
right? If you have one,
but if we were
at, if we were at 3, quarterback, it's good.
Yeah, sorry. If we were at 3, like we have to take a quarterback, right? Is that 100%. I don't like people. One of the things I guess is that you're okay with a team that took a left tackle over the quarterback because you want to build and put pieces around Teddy Bridgewater. I don't think you should be okay with a team that takes a running back in the top 5 then.
I'm not.
I agree.
The top 10. I know you're not. And I know you're not, but I think that like if you're going to say this is that we don't need to take a quarterback in this draft and we need to try to build ahead. Yeah. Then you should have also said we shouldn't have taken Christian McCaffrey that year.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. On that. Next call.
Hey. You know who the fuck this is. What's good? What's Gucci, fellas?
Baby.
Carolina, you are some motherfucking bitches, man. Like, this team, this organization, these so-called leaders, or who the fuck they call them, so like, y'all really blow me away. Y'all should have been doing, like, where was this last week? Like, their process is so fucking backwards. Like, it's a shit show. So now we have the 8th pick. We had the 3rd pick locked in, man. I don't give a fuck. Win for what? See, meaningless win. And that's what we did last week. It was meaningless. To get our asses kicked this week. We got our asses kicked this, bro. Bro, Teddy, hold on, let me calm down. I pray to God this man ain't on this fucking team next year. I've blown his social media up. I'm pretty sure I'm blocked. I'm pretty sure he got I know that bitch ass motherfucker got my message because I'm pretty sure he blocked me. But I don't give a fuck. You see what Cam Newton did today? Cam Newton doesn't have no fucking receivers. And he just took the Patriots to a 7-win season.
Yeah.
A 7-win season with no fucking receivers. And now if he's going to be a free agent. Why not bring Cam back if we can? Like, I don't understand what? What?
We can't bring
If he's
Cam
willing to
back,
come back, bro, we're not getting a QB.
He's not going to come back.
That's just down the drain. If we're not... Hey, by the way, Justin fucking Fields. Oh my God! I told you, motherfuckers, man. That's Cam Newton 7-on-7 QB in his flag football, yo. Justin Fields is his QB. He came out and said when Justin Fields was in high school, he was the best QB, dual threat QB to come out of high school. Cam Newton is his mentor. That's what I fucking wanted. We ain't getting no Justin Fields now. So why not bring Cam back? baby. Like, oh my goodness.
He's gonna be a Washington football teamer, dude.
Yeah, actually, he probably might be. That's a good possibility.
Look, I'll just leave it at this. If Cam Newton ever came back, regardless of what my reason would tell me, it's out the window. I'm fucking pulling for Cam Newton all over again, hoping that he's gonna prove everyone wrong. The chances of me getting up and running to the refrigerator right quick is more likely than Cam Newton coming back to the football team. I would think, which sucks, man. Like, you know, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, like, we have to look forward and move forward. By the way, G Baby, what's your Twitter handle, man? Like, did you fuck with me on Twitter? If not, why not, bro? Fucking hit me up, dude. Come on. Like,
Cam Newton was 21 of 30 with 3 touchdowns today, 242 yards, 11 carries for 79 yards. And I saw one of my buddies from Play Like a Jet podcast said it looked like Cam Newton was running in slow motion, and he still did that. Yeah, our kind of opinion on Cam was clear from the beginning of the
Harney
season.
had him at the beginning of the year.
It's tough.
We were a quarterback away, and Harney had him.
Bad news. I mean, maybe in the good news of this is that if we had Cam, we still would have, we would have won 3 more games, maybe.
Yeah, but
and then we still would have been in this same position, right? It's like true. We can't get a quarterback. We don't know if we want to re-sign Cam to a big deal. This and that.
I think there is. Again, we're talking about fucking the tooth fairy at this point in time.
Right.
But I do think having Cam Newton, if we would have had a more explosive offense in just a few of those games, I think that would have given guys like Brian Burns a chance to pin their ears back and go get the quarterback, because opposing offenses would have to play from a deficit with how more explosive our offense may have been. So that might have benefited our defense. And I maintain that's why our defense pitched a shutout against Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions. I mean, your defense does play better when your offense is zooming up and down the field. Yeah. So,
I mean, all right, Kevin Boshovin, I say this every time.
I said Boshovin.
Boshovin. He said he caught a touchdown pass today, too. They scored 28 points, and Cam Newton scored all of them. He's
the best receiver on the football team. He's the best receiver on the football team, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Delusional Cam fans.
All right. This by the way, since we're on the Patriots right now, one of the reasons I'm not excited about Nick Caserio at the moment, and I think his stock is down, goes to somebody on the team that caught one of the touchdown passes today, Sony Michel. I said Nick Chubb was the guy to draft coming out of that over Sony Michel. Sony Michel, they took first.
He was.
And look, Nick Chubb is killing it, and Sony Michel is just doing the same thing. Hurt. So that's one example. That's only one thing, but that's the one thing in my mind that stuck out of the Patriots making a big mistake recently in the draft.
Also, the Patriots had more players opt out than any other team.
They did. They were supposed to have a really good defense. They could have. They had a very good defense last year. They didn't this year. But the fact that they won, this shows you how spoiled New England is. They acted like their team was the worst team they've ever had in their history of the world, and they went 7-9.
Yeah,
they were two games out of the playoffs.
Yeah. All right. Next call.
Hey, I have a few people I've got to ice up. Since the season's over, I gotta do my icing up. And don't take this personal, fellas, but Tony, ice the fuck up. Ice the fuck up for ever saying Demir Bird is better than Curtis Samuel. Motherfucker, what? Bro, as soon as I heard you say that, bro, I had to mute you for a couple of episodes, bro. Every single time you started talking, bro, because you said Demir Bird. The same motherfucker that just dropped an open field pass last week for Cam Newton, bro. Are you fucking kidding me? Curtis Samuel, that motherfucker's a 1,000-yard receiver, bro. So don't you ever say Demir Bird's better than Curtis Samuel, boy, please. Now my next Ice Up pick goes up to G. Cavassier. My brother. This is the same dude. As soon as we got Teddy Bridgewater, did he not say, "Oh, I loved Teddy Bridgewater coming out of college. I'm going to get me a Teddy Bridgewater jersey." Boy, you Kincaid jumping motherfucker. Ice Up. My last Ice Up pick. Cody. Motherfucker that said that we were one player away from being like the Kansas City Chiefs. Boy, please. Ice the fuck up. Other than that, I love the podcast. We got the 8th pick. Teddy Bridgewater, get the fuck out of Carolina. I want Matt Rule the fuck out of Carolina. David Tepper, don't make me pull up your resume, bro. I think David Tepper's got 7 wins and 30 losses.
Really?
As an owner, I don't know if that's accurate. I know it's along those lines, but I'll have to fucking figure it out and give you guys a call back. Peace.
All right.
Hey, at least he'll call us back when he figures it out.
Yeah, actually, I think this is him right here. I got it. Let's see.
Oh, he didn't call back?
Hey, this is G-Baby again. I gotta get this QB prospect class. I gotta lay this shit out for you guys. I watched that Florida game. Trask, the Florida QB, got his ass kicked.
Yeah.
And then quit on his fucking team because he didn't want to hurt his fucking draft stock. Nigga, please. I don't want that motherfucker on the team, bro. I don't want that kind of QB to where, you throw three interceptions before halftime and then you want out and you want to quit? You want to quit, bro? No, I don't give a fuck if you don't have your weapons. You don't quit on your team, bro. And that's exactly what he did to Florida. He quit. Wasn't even put back into the game because he didn't want to hurt his draft stock. I'm Gucci off him. Like I said, even though Trevor Lawrence didn't look as good as I thought he was going to be, if it ain't for Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields, I don't want him. I don't want him. I sure in hell don't want Trask. The dude from Alabama, he might be different, boys. I'm not going to... But he does have great receivers, but damn, he's cold, man. He's cold, but ain't nobody fucking with Justin Fields. I would move the mountain and earth and heaven and hell to go get Justin Fields, bro. I genuinely would give up 3 first-round draft picks, along with our picks this year, maybe throw in a couple of players. I don't know what we got to do to go get... The Jets seem like they're willing to trade down, man. But what we do not want to do is have Justin Fields go to Atlanta. He's from Georgia.
No.
He used to kick it in the streets of Atlanta. We do not need Justin Fields to go to Atlanta and have to deal with him for the next fucking decade. That's why us losing last week affected it's going to affect our fucking organization for the next decade, bro. Like, you don't pass up on a nigga like Justin Fields. Are you kidding me? And if he goes to Atlanta... Fellas, let's just pray to God that Carolina moves in front of Atlanta to take a QB. Because if they don't, Justin Fields will go to Atlanta. I promise you guys. He will go. And we will have to deal with that nightmare for the rest of the next 10 fucking years. I promise.
I love the passion. I gotta say, I hope you're black, though. G-Baby.
Yeah, just be careful. You might end up like the Twisted Tea guy in the video I'm not entirely certain of G-Baby's complexion. I would tend to guess he's lighter, some lighter skinned brothers like us, but I don't know. Listen, I love his passion, man. I don't know. I love his passion. I disagree with a bunch of things that he says
loves
too.
some Justin Fields, man.
Yeah, he really does. So, can I tell y'all my concern about Justin Fields?
Mine is that he's too one read.
No, I've seen him go through his reads. My thing is, so everyone wants to make the comparison to him and Cam Newton. But he's really not built like Cam Newton. And if you're not built like Cam, I don't want to compare you to Cam because that means you don't run in the same manner that a prime Cam Newton did. Like, he has been hurt. He's never missed a game due to injury, but every year he has sustained an injury that has been like borderline serious. He broke his thumb in high school and missed the final 3 games of the season. Last year he hurt his ankle. It was a high ankle sprain, I think, that he still managed to play on. It was something in his leg. He still managed to play on it, and that hampered his performance last year. Then this year he's running, and he takes a blow to the rib from one of our linebackers, and he had hurt ribs the rest of the game. Now, it made his performance all the more impressive because he still threw for 6 touchdowns on some hurt ribs. But I'm concerned that his body might not hold up to an NFL schedule.
Right.
The injuries are kind of concerning for me. So that's my hesitation with him. But the talent, dude, the talent is undeniable.
And good news is that it seems like to be a fantastic quarterback, having resembling a frog is helpful. And now Patrick Mahomes speaks like a frog, and Justin Fields looks like a frog. That might guarantee his success in the NFL. I don't know. I think I just don't know if he's going to take some time to develop in the NFL. Right? Is that I don't think it's going to be right. I think he's going to not be bad, but I could see how the game would be. And I don't want this, and I think this could be for a lot of these guys, and you might even see this for Trevor Lawrence, is that when you're used to playing inferior talent, you know, and you're on the best team, and yes, you're the best player, but you're on a great team. I just don't know, is like some of these deep passes, it's just different in the NFL. And I'm really interested to see how some of these cats throw NFL football. Right, is that I tell you this though, is you could tell the difference in the speed of the football in PJ Walker today versus Teddy. Like it was visible, just getting there. Yeah. I mean, with the Teddy ball, it's like it seems like it's barely going, like it's struggling to cut through the air. So I'm interested in seeing how some of these big arm talents, how they throw what they look like at the pro level when the game gets faster. The windows are smaller and the football is bigger. And I know that's kind of weird. I don't know. I just we'll see. I think Fields has got a tremendous amount of upside. I just don't know if he's going to be day one ready.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that could. Yeah. So okay, how about this? It could be true about all of them. Right. It might also be true. It might also be true about none of them, too.
Right.
Because I do believe that quarterbacks do, especially nowadays, enter into the NFL more ready for the game than they ever have before. But, yeah, there's absolutely merit to that discussion, though. Like, I've seen Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, and Trevor Lawrence, for that matter, throw some of their best passes from the most beautiful pocket in the world where there's no pressure in the face. Now, I've also seen Trevor make incredible throws with a ton of people right in his face.
Sure.
But the other 3 guys, that is a reasonable criticism. The game speeds up. The type of throws you have to make become a lot harder. Your pocket is a lot less dependable. So, yeah, sure.
Can I be honest about Trevor Lawrence, too? Like, I was watching the other day in the game, and I know, that y'all lost that game, but I've seen him in other games before where he's played fantastic. And I've seen the guy play, and I watch him in uniform. He looks like a quarterback. The way he throws the ball is beautiful. Then he walks over the sideline, takes his helmet off. And when I look at him, I just don't want that to be my quarterback. I don't know why. When I look at him, I just don't want this guy to be my quarterback. I don't know who could. It's like a 30-year-old Hanson brother. I just don't want this guy to be my quarterback. I don't know why. It's the way he looks. And I know it's discriminatory or whatever. It's just me, but I just look at him like, nah, I'll pass.
Well, hold on. What about him though? Like, is it the hair, the face? What?
I think all of it. I think the video y'all sent me a long time ago with the powder ruined Taylor Lawrence for me.
Trevor,
I'll resend you the video. Trevor Lawrence.
With the powder?
Yeah.
The powder?
I don't even
I've
remember
seen
that
it
one.
again.
All right, let's go to the next
call.
call.
What are you talking about, dude?
Yeah.
Hey guys,
Dude,
Joey.
I think you're thinking of something different, bro.
He looks like the kid from Dazed and Confused to me. Wiley something, whatever his name was. All right, let's go next call. Last two calls.
Hey guys, it's Joey. So yeah, I think like we could pull something off with like somehow getting Miami to take our 7, giving us their 3. But if we did that, would we just straight up keep the 3? We're gonna have to trade something to Miami too, which is fine. I mean, we have, a few 1,000-yard receivers that I'm sure Miami would love to have another weapon for whoever they decide to put a quarterback. But if we did that, we could just straight up keep their, 3rd pick, or we can get Houston the 3rd pick and say, we'll get the 3 pick, and then call Houston and say, we got the Dolphins pick. You can have it.
Well, your pick.
You can have
Houston already
if
have
you
the Dolphins pick.
give us Deshaun Watson, and we'll throw in a few. We'll throw in a few late round picks.
They're not moving off of Deshaun Watson, folks.
Like you can try something like that, but. And everybody thinks it's crazy. Houston's not going to get rid of Deshaun. You don't know. They're going to have a new coach, and they might have a new GM. So I really don't know. Like, we don't know. They're just going to let us start right over again. And just, blow it all up, get rid of Watson, just start with a clean slate, which would be great for us. Anyway, guys.
We'll give this question. Brad Dugan asked, with the Dolphins at 3, maybe open for business, could we make a move up to number 3? Cody.
So it's funny that you mentioned that. I just saw a brand new trade that I was tagged in. This is from the Draft Network by Joe Marino. It has the Panthers moving and trading with the Dolphins. It says trade. Carolina receives the 3rd overall pick from Miami in exchange for the 8th overall pick, the 72nd overall pick, and a 2022 first-round pick. Would you do that?
I'll take it.
Hell yeah.
Give it to me. Yep.
Dude, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, honestly, right now, guys, at this point, that's the dream. Like, if we're able to still have a 2nd-round pick and move up and get Zach fucking Wilson, who outside of Trevor Lawrence, dude, I have seen so much Zach Wilson film, and I don't just mean highlights, okay? I watch all the bad snaps too. Dude, Zach Wilson has it. Yeah. Zach Wilson has that it thing, bro. I'm telling you, man. That's the dream for us right now. So to answer Brad Dugan, yes, I would love to move up to number 3. I wish we would have lost to Washington. That way we wouldn't even have to be talking about trading.
No, we wouldn't have to trade. We were there.
Think about this. Think about this. We would have our shot for sure if Trevor and Justin go 1 and 2. We're guaranteed either Trey Lance or Zach Wilson or Justin Fields. You're guaranteed one of those dudes. And yeah, we fucked it up, but that's the dream right now.
All right, last call of the night.
Hey guys, Chuck from Elizabeth City here.
What's up, Chuck?
I was thinking about not calling in tonight and wait till Tuesday. Kind of down the way the team played today. I thought first half they played well to a point. Quarterback play is just horrendous. It's just terrible. I see some good things from some guys though, but it's just we're getting in this lull of being just a mediocre to a not so good team. I really think we got to get away from the quarterback. we might have to bite the bullet this year. And I know we might not be here again, but I'm all for getting a shutdown corner or really getting a middle linebacker with this draft pick, or taking something completely out of the box other than tight end. I'm not taking a quarterback. Maybe we can get Mac Jones in the second round. I just really feel like we're going to have to try to build other areas of the team, make them stronger. I don't want to reach and take the third or fourth best quarterback in this draft and we end up getting a lemon. I'd rather have the best corner or the best, even best receiver, believe it or not, or the best middle linebacker in this draft than to take a gamble on a guy that really might not be the guy.
Well, I think that's been the kind of the problem with drafting at 8, right? Is that if you're at 8, it is going to be a gamble at that pick on the guy a little bit, right? But if you were at 3, you really thought that there was an argument that they could get a guy that they truly believed in. So I do understand that. I think that concern becomes more concerning,
right,
at the position we're at, right? Yeah. And the idea that now, before the question is that, we were talking about how absurd the trade Cody was saying from going 3 to 1. Yeah. But we could have just sat pat at 3.
Right.
Taken either Fields or Wilson and called it a day and felt great. Now you're talking about trying to trade into the 3 spot in a guy that you hope you believe in. But I do get that concern. It's like just picking a quarterback because you have to have a quarterback because we need one. Everybody knows it. At 8, and if not, and you feel like you're settling, you don't want that. Maybe in that case, you do try to go the Jalen Hurts type way. You get a really good player in the top 10, and then maybe you try to figure something out. But I almost think this is that if we pick at 8 and we don't somehow a quarterback doesn't slip to us, like, just these guys, New York decides not to pick a quarterback, Atlanta decides to roll with and then, I feel like whoever we get, we're gonna be like the same next year. And so at that point, I'm sitting there going left tackle, left tackle, left tackle. It would have been a lot simpler if we had just not won against Washington.
Right. That changed everything. And where I see where this caller is coming from, and I agree with him to a certain extent, you got to realize everything is a risk. Like sometimes picking what's looked at as the third or fourth best quarterback might be the best quarterback in the draft. You never know. I know you talked about taking like the best wide receiver or the best safety. What was the best wide receivers last year, Cody? Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs. Who else? Have they done a whole lot this year?
Yeah, Justin Jefferson.
They really haven't done a lot this year. So taking somebody who's the best at whatever position or projected to be the best at whatever position is always a risk. I feel like if you have a chance to get a quarterback, though, at that point, you take it because you don't get the opportunity to draft what's projected to be a top 3 quarterback, for the next few years very often. Just saying.
Yeah, 100%. And that was Chuck from Elizabeth City, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So Chuck, listen, I understand your hesitancy because you don't want to draft a bust and then especially force a young quarterback into a bad position. But my thing is this, like our hopes are abysmal next year, just drafting another linebacker and then maybe taking a 3rd or 2nd round flyer on a quarterback you're more afraid. You're afraid to bust rather than you are confident in your team, finding their quarterback and pulling the trigger on a guy that they like. I mean, just because a quarterback is drafted later, it doesn't mean that you're settling. I mean, Justin Herbert was drafted after Joe Burrow, after Tua Tagovailoa. And I'm sure a lot of Chargers fans, especially after hearing what the draft media was saying about Herbert, they probably felt, oh, man, we settled for Justin Herbert. He didn't put up all the numbers in college. And look, look what he's doing now. So a lot of times you have to you have to be willing to gamble. And the last little reminder, our owner made billions of dollars betting on banks that everyone else thought would fail.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he has a risk it mentality to him. He's willing to pull the trigger on something big like that because he knows that even though it's a risk, the potential payoff might be massive. So, by the way, I hope you like my new background. This Zach Wilson little ditty I have. But I think we have to have a quarterback. I mean, even if we have a shutdown corner or a badass Mike linebacker, I don't think it does much for us next year.
Well, I think like you were saying before, Cody,
bro. We need a corner just as bad as anything.
We do. But like Cody was saying before, I think Cody says we're a quarterback away from being a playoff contender. I don't know if I necessarily agree from being like a contender, but I know that a good quarterback this year would have won us more games than if we had a really good cornerback. You know, a really good quarterback might have helped out in a game or two and maybe won us a game or two. A good quarterback would have won us 5 of the games that we lost this year. Easy. He would have finished the game like Teddy Bridgewater can't. So I just feel like a quarterback's more impactful.
All right. That's the C3. That's the post-game show. Let's get out of here, guys. The number's 252-228-5098. We'll be here on Tuesday at 9 p.m. as we regroup and try to figure out. We'll probably have some good, interesting news from going around the league. Looks like Mike Evans suffered a knee injury today. How
it looked
sucky
bad
is that?
too. I saw it hyperextended. Looked real bad.
All right. All right, guys. You can follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. Cody, how can they get after you?
At Cody Lack on Twitter, CODYLAC. The season is over, y'all. So draft season is officially underway. It's heated up. Check out drafttech.com. I write comments for the Carolina Panthers. I do it every other Wednesday, but we're getting ready to move up to once a week with a brand new pick every. I'm going to try and do a new player every single Wednesday, so that way we can preview some players. So
nice.
Check out drafttech.com and read my write-ups, and that's it. I'll let your boy.
Washington's about to get in the playoffs. 17-14, they're up on the Eagles. All right, Codizzle, Alan, CK, how can they find you?
You can find me on Facebook Gaming, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all the locations. Codizzle_Alan for most of them. So go check me out. Got a giveaway going on right now, so definitely check out my Twitter to find out more about that, and definitely pass along some follows and subscribes on YouTube.
All right, Greg, how can they get after you?
You can find me at the Bat Daddy 52 on Twitter is my personal handle. Check out the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network for all your podcast needs on everything geek,